I didn't get to set up my camera in the right spot. What's up, Halk?
Hey, what's up?
We made it this week.
Yeah, I didn't fall asleep.
It's all right.
It's all my fault, not JT's fault.
It's all the fishing you've been doing.
We've been fishing a lot. What's going on, bud? It's been a long time.
I know. This is our first show back, actually, since the watch party.
Yeah, the 2 watch parties.
2 watch parties. Yeah. So you've been out fishing already. I haven't had a chance to get out yet. I'm still getting the boat ready. So kind of tell us what you've had going on.
Yeah, so I've been fishing a lot. It's been slow but picking up. So today was pretty good. I went by myself. We went for bass down west of where I keep my boat in an area called Jessup's. It's typically an early bass spot. Last year we were catching them in like the 3rd week of April. This year they only showed up a few days ago. Go figure. So caught a few bass there. Caught my first keeper fluke thereafter in Greenport. Got my first keeper weak fish. Same thing while I was fluke fishing. But Skinner didn't fluke fish today. He was out there on his boat today too, doing well with the bass. And then he went to the weak fish grounds by us and did really well. Mm-hmm. So the weak fish are in, the bass are in, the fluke are starting to show up. I did something interesting yesterday. I went with my buddy Jay out of Shinnecock Bay, where we'd gotten reports from I got reports from multiple people that the fluke are in at Shinnecock. Mm-hmm. We didn't see any boats fishing, which was interesting.
Yeah,
the weatherman was way wrong. It was supposed to be a 5 to 10 day, and it was 15 to 20.
Yeah.
But Shinnecock Bay, we were on a 33-foot boat. We were fine, but we had one short fluke. But we caught bass, and Jay is I think it's going to be an interesting video. Jay is a fan of. Oh God, I'm going to forget his name now. John Paduano. He's a snap jigging guy, very well known. I think Skinner even learned that technique that he uses for sea bass. Oh, okay. And Jay literally uses a 1/4 ounce jig head style bucktail, like a round head bucktail, mm-hmm. and he kills the bass on it. And I got my first one ever. No trailer, no fat cow jig strip. Just a little tiny bucktail, and Jay makes his own, and he kills him. And I got my first one doing that. A lot of fun. So definitely a different style. Very, very finesse.
Cool. That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
A lot less work, right?
Well, it's a lot of work because you're casting and snapping and
but you don't have all that weight and stuff like with a 3-way.
Right. But when we fish the Ritz, JT, right, we've kind of moved over now to just a 6-ounce bucktail, and you're just keeping it dead still and waiting for the thump. So it really is brainless fishing.
What's up, Dan?
I'm Dan.
Dan's getting ready to go out there. Nice. If anybody has any questions or anything like that, post them up. Halk and I will answer them throughout the night. Well, throughout the show.
And your boat's in the water.
Next week.
Oh, next week. You're not in yet.
No, I'm not in yet.
Oh, okay.
I got a couple things I had to put in.
Your engine's good, though?
Huh?
Your engine's.
Oh, yeah. Everything's great. Cool. Yeah. Yep. I'm psyched. I can't. This will be the earliest I've been in a long time. So we'll be seeing you a bunch over there. So that's good stuff. Let me just pull this up real quick. I'm going to share. Everybody kind of likes this stuff. The species regulations. Let's pull that up. So this is so Connecticut and New York have pretty much the same, at least for the most part. Hopefully everybody can see that.
Blackfish is different, but I think everything else is going to be very similar. Yeah. What is your sea bass? Because I couldn't see what that was.
So sea bass, this is always interesting. So black sea bass regulation changes for 2025 in bold. Minimum length 16 inches, daily creel limit or bag limit 5 fish per angler. So open
So you
season.
got it way better than we do. We're 16 and a half.
Yep.
We're 3 fish in the beginning, and our season starts, I think, June 23rd. I see May 17 over there.
Yeah. So I can't remember if this is earlier or later than last year. So if anybody knows, throw it in the comments. So open season in Connecticut is May 17th through June 23rd. And then it closes for 2 weeks. And it's actually, well, it closes to recreational fishermen in Connecticut. But it remains open for party boats and charter vessels.
Cool.
So open season for party boats and charter vessels is May 17th through December 31st. And the bag limit for paying passengers only 5 fish per angler from May 17th to August 31st, and then 7 per angler from September 1st to December 1st.
Yeah, ours is similar. It goes up around September 1. And JT, you and I were talking for 5 minutes before this started, and I mentioned I just applied for my Connecticut charter license. Because I think I know that if you are a New York charter boat, you really can't fish Connecticut waters without the Connecticut permit. So
yeah, and vice versa.
There's enough good fishing there that I don't want to not have like there's so many times like I've not gone to Connecticut for blackfish, even though there's some really good spots there. So this year I'll be able to do that. And a question for the folks who are listening and or watching, I guess it's both. We don't play the audio separate. Would anybody book a charter for blackfish if you couldn't keep fish to take home? So would you come on a charter in July for blackfish if you're jonesing for blackfish, if the fluking sucks, let's say, would you do that? I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Because there's enough people who blackfish is now their number one species. I would personally, if you told me, hey, we're going on a blackfish charter in August, I would do it, but that's just me. JT, I see James at water temp. Yeah. James, I wish I knew. Over the winter, my temperature module on my transducer died. So it's reading anywhere from like 80 degrees to 102 degrees.
Ooh, it's hot.
Relatively certain we're not fishing, in the HE double hockey stick. So I don't know, but I would guess, plus or minus 2 degrees from 60. That would be my best guess.
So I know that the water temp as of Wednesday, so yesterday, in the Sound was 49.
No.
Yeah, at least that's what Joe told me.
Maybe his transducer's dead.
Maybe his stinks too.
Yeah, actually, I got this. This is still lame.
You know what? We should pull it up on the.
You know what this is? It looks like some kind of.
That could be a lot of different things,
but it's not. It's a pool thermometer, so it's got a string on it. So when I need a temperature reading, I'm just going to put this in the water and get a quick temperature reading. I don't tuna fish, so finding the temperature breaks is not critical for me. But still, it's nice to know what the temp is. And I was told to fix that temp sensor equals new transducer. And I have a through hull transducer. It's $1,200 plus all the labor.
Rip it out. Well, you just cut it off and leave it in the hull.
Pardon?
You just cut it off and leave it in the hull.
Yeah. The other thing, I don't have right now a bottom finder, a bottom. My Garmin doesn't read the bottom; it only works as a map. The sonar is all handled by my Humminbird. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking about putting maybe just a transom mount with a temp sensor, just to add redundancy on the sonar. Mm-hmm. That's probably the easiest way, and just rely on the Garmin for temperature reading.
Yep, that's a good idea. Yeah, you got to have temp,
and it'll be cheaper than replacing, the through hull.
Yeah. There's another. Let's see.
Yeah, Dan is tying bucktails.
Nice. God bless you. That's a lot of work tying those things.
And it is heating up. Like I said at the beginning, so just going back a little, Skinner and I went out May 1. So Skinner was hosting the guys from Tsunami, and we went out on my boat, and they were shooting like informational things for Tsunami. So if you're ever on Instagram and a fishing and you're in reels, watching reels, and all of a sudden, like I play pickleball now, I get pickleball commercials all the time in between those reels. If you fish, you get all those fishing commercials. So you're gonna probably see some of that in the future if you watch fishing related content on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all those things. No bass. We caught 4 bass, but not at Jessup's. We caught them in Greenport, just got lucky, found a school of them. Couldn't catch a porgy where everybody catches porgies starting in late April in Peconic over by
that's crazy.
Yeah, it was nuts. And I took my binoculars out and I'm looking at the big party boats, and you don't see a single fish coming over the rail. You don't see anybody setting the hook. And then I went and read the reports, and everybody was complaining about the pickiest bite. But it's picked up. The weak fish are in, the bass are in now, and the fluke are starting to show up.
Yep. It's all going to come at once. Let's see. We have any more questions? Make sure you get your questions in there. We'll answer all of them. Let me see what we've got here. How come? There we go. I lost the chat. Can you see the chat?
I got it. Yeah, there's no questions.
I lost the chat. Oh, here we go. I got it back. Let's talk about I know we've talked about some of the new strategies and techniques that you're going to use and try out this year. I've got some. Why don't you go first and tell everybody what you're thinking?
Yes, I definitely want to do, like, I wanted to do it today, but I was conscious of the fact that I really want to give it a good, honest effort with the style I know, even though I didn't fish that long. But I just wanted to see if there were fish there, right? Because I have charters coming up and I have people that are asking me. So I didn't want to dick around too much. But I really want to try like that ultralight, 12-pound fluoro, 6-pound braid, quarter-ounce jig head, that Roger cooking and fishing style that he does off the surf. But, he and I have spoken, and there's no reason that shouldn't work off the boat. So I really want to try that. And then, of course, we fell in love with the most expensive jig known to man in Florida this year, the Nomad Squidrex, which is a vibrating, darting squid. And we're all dying to try it for bass, for fluke. Now, I have tried it for bass. I hooked up once with it. But pragmatically speaking, no one should be spending $20 on ostensibly a bucktail substitute.
Yeah.
But notwithstanding that logic, right? Throw that logic out the door. It's just such a cool jig, and the action on it is awesome. And I'm really curious if it'll work. And then Doc has bought a bunch of the really, really small ones. I think they're the 65 model, and they're not 65 grams. Squidrex does a terrible job with their naming convention. You think it's grams, it's not. He's going to use those as teasers for fluke.
Oh.
The problem with the Squidrex, though, they come with really, really small hooks.
Really? Yeah, they're tiny.
They're tiny hooks. So you got to switch them all out, which kind of sucks because you're already spending, $20 on the jig, and then you're spending another $10 on quality hooks, and so trying to think that I as we know, JT, I am Mr. Boring with this stuff, so that's my update. You go ahead because unfortunately I gotta blow my nose.
All right, here, I'll take you off so everybody doesn't have to see a blow your nose. There you go. So I'm going to be doing something very similar. Any of the trips where we're not going out to the ocean, I'm definitely going to be fishing more this year with a spinning rod and some lighter tackle. smaller bucktails, and I'm going to focus on some pretty skinny water, some shallow water this year. I think we're missing fish in that 6 to 12-foot range. So I'm looking forward to that. And then obviously, this is going to be a big year for us. We're going to be using a lot of cut bait on rigs. So that's going to be a big deal. I'm excited about that. So let me get you back in, Halk.
Thanks. Sorry about that. I don't know. I don't know anybody who's been outside the last week or so. The amount of pollen, like when I'm washing my boat now at the end of the day,
like yellow, right?
It like you literally think there's motor oil leaking from your deck.
Yeah.
I'm like, why does the cap on the front of my boat have motor oil on it? It's not motor oil, it's pollen.
Pollen, yeah.
Yeah.
So I know you were talking about fishing some shallower water this year as well, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you're going to be much better equipped.
Yeah, even today, I was the only rod I used today was my noodle rod, and that's what I caught all my bass on, and then I caught my keeper fluke on it. I was in 20-something feet of water, but I was using a 1-ounce bucktail, 10-pound braid, 20-pound leader for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I caught a nice weak fish on that setup too.
Nice. Yeah,
but I'm gonna go lighter when I do, like literally ultralight, like 12-pound fluoro and the 1/4-ounce jig head and the 4-inch jerk shad, and that's what we did in Shinnecock yesterday. That's what I was using. I caught one short fluke doing that, but there was like no life there. Which again, all the reports were like Shinnecock's on fire, and we tried so many spots, and like friends of mine sent me detailed areas where they were fishing. We found no life there, no bait, no sea robins, no one short fluke in that area. So I don't know what to say. Maybe it's just bad luck.
Yeah. So let's answer a couple questions that came in real quick. James Ryan here. I can't see it, Hulk. I got my camera right in the middle of the screen.
What is the entry fee for the Billy's by the Bay fluke tournament? I don't know. I don't think he's announced it yet, but typically it's I want to say $75 a person entry.
Like $75, yeah.
And then the 3 Calcuttas have been the same as long as I've been in the tournament, and I've been in it since the beginning. There's 3 Calcuttas, 25, 50, and 100.
That is such a good time too. If anybody's thinking about doing it, definitely get in. It's a great time. It's run very well. Food's good, and you get to hang out with us.
Hey guys, any news on the Skinner bucktails? I can't find any. No news. I've seen it firsthand. He showed me the prototype. It's really good. But it's just shouldn't come as a shock because I think most big companies are going that way. It's dealing with China now on the production and just not here yet, as far as I know. They're supposed to be here soon, but they're not here yet.
Yeah. So our buddy Greg. What's up, Greg?
Yeah, what's up, Greg? Greg sent me the sweetest gift. He literally took the Jigging Jerks logo, by the way, new merch.
Nice. I like that shirt.
Yeah, it's a cool shirt. And he made me a Yeti tumbler, which was very nice.
Very cool.
Here. I brought it back and forth with me from Florida. How cool is that?
Oh, dude, that's nice, huh? A chrome logo.
Nice, Greg.
Nice, Greg.
Yeah.
That is cool.
You could look like, even though he's Greek, you could look like a big Italian mafioso and still have a warm heart.
Greg's a really good guy.
He is.
Says, let's see. Philly says, hell, bucktails are $12 and $13 in tackle stores these days. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nuts. And I assume, so I will say this, because I see somebody else asked about bucktails. Doc, a couple of other friends of ours, we put in a big order through ENS bucktails. That's friends of ours in Delaware. They're hand tying their own bucktails, making their own bucktails down in Delaware.
Good.
Right now, he's only charging $1 an ounce. He's got a Facebook page. My last video, the opening day fluke video, actually, not the video I put out today, has a link to his Facebook page. And their swing hook bucktails, their mustad hooks. It's a good bucktail, especially at that price.
Yeah, definitely. Nice.
So it's just an alternative. And he also make them in any size. So I use his 1 ounce. Like today, I got the weak fish and the fluke on 1 ounce on his 1 ounce bucktail, and it's a swing hook.
Nice. Are you taking the sea fever that shallow? Yeah, I have. We did a few times last year. I had to be really careful to make sure I'm not getting too close to any rocks. But yeah, yep, it's scary sometimes. Gotta pay attention. Want to read that one, John? It's cut off.
Yeah, that's the question I just answered about who you guys say your swing hook bucktails. And then we got Mike T asking about how do we tie braid to leader. So I spoke to Mike on the phone, and I'm not technical anything. I tie an improved clinch knot braid. So I make the loop improved clinch. So you do like the regular 8 loops, pass it through itself. Then you pass it once more through that second. That's only on the braid. And then I tighten it, but I leave a little bit of the loop. And then I put the fluoro through that little loop, and I tie just a regular clinch knot or cinch knot, and then join them together. Now it's not the prettiest, but it doesn't break.
I'll show you my SC knot sometime. Next time we're together in person, I'll show you how to tie the SC knot.
You can show me anything. All these knots are way too complicated for me. This takes me literally 10 seconds to tie.
Yeah.
And I'm not. The only time it sucks is if you're casting, because it's a little bulkier. It's not smooth like an FG or an Albright or some of those other knots. Yeah. But for bottom fishing, it's perfect. Yeah. Sean is a great guy. He really is. Yeah, Pete Pastapol, great tariffs on the bucktails.
Yeah,
that's the sad reality is. Things from China are going to get a lot more expensive soon. I mean, look, I assume they are, but who the hell knows, right? Because it seems like one day tariffs are on, then they're delayed, then they're on, then they're delayed. So, who knows?
Next couple of weeks, at least the ones with China, I think, are going to be gone. James Ryan has a good question that you and I have talked about a lot. We both tie direct to the leader.
Yeah,
we don't
use ties always to a barrel swivel. Yeah. I stopped doing that a long time ago.
Yeah, it's definitely nicer. Let's see.
Gotta roll your own. Ha ha ha. Dan the Fisherman. Is that a marijuana joke? I don't get it.
I don't know either.
Dan, you're gonna have to explain it in a different comment. That went over my head.
Yeah.
So Northeastern Tackle Company. One of my good friends, Andy, also got a nice order from them, likes their stuff. Years and years ago, they sent me a couple jigs to try. They were really good jigs. I personally didn't like the design, but I went on their website, and they looks like it's more of the stuff I'm used to now. So definitely, I think it's a good company. I had one real light experience. I think it was called a bullet jig, if any of this is making sense. It was like a really sharp nose jig. It just didn't work for the fish I was targeting. But from what I understand, it's quality stuff.
Yeah. Let's see here. I had there he is. What else we got here?
Then we got Greg asking
carrot knot. That's carrot. So carrot knot is an awesome knot. You just have to learn how to tie it. It's not overly complicated, but the carrot knot is phenomenal. It's a great knot. The SC knot is a nice knot. It's a little easier to tie, but it's definitely not as lean and mean as the carrot knot. Charlie, what's up, buddy? Thanks for joining us.
Go to above that. Greg asked the question too. Yeah, there you go. Guys, I've seen pictures of squid getting caught in Rhode Island. They're massive. Is that what you... So yeah, there were massive squid in Peconic Bay. The guys fishing off the docks in Greenport were hammering them. Skinner, Doc, and I went a week ago. Maybe last Friday we went. I don't remember. So like almost a week ago, and we couldn't catch a cold. We first drop, we were fishing for a minute. Those guys caught one each, and then 3 hours later, not another squid hit the deck. But the days leading up to that, people were crushing them off the docks. The guy Steve, who works at the bait and tackle store in Southold at Wego, he had over 100 pieces by himself off the docks a few days before that. So there's definitely a lot of bait in the bay. We were marking huge amounts of bait. We didn't know what it was, and then we picked one up, and it was a mackerel. Skinner got it. It's in one of his videos, which I think, JT, I told you that story because to me it was unusual catching a mackerel in Peconic Bay in April, but who the heck knows? Maybe they're always there. Just because we don't even think to target them.
Yeah. Well, there were a lot of them last year. I think there were more mackerel around last year than I had seen the previous years. So
100%.
Yeah. Here's a great, let's see. Here's a great question. I love these kinds of questions. When drift fishing for fluke, do you always try to start in the deepest part of the drop off? No. I'll answer this one first from my perspective, John, and then maybe you can answer it. Most of the time I start on the shallow side and work my way deeper. And then I'll try to use because I don't have a trolling motor, I have to rely on the wind and the tide and the angle that I use to set up on a particular piece. So I'll try to hit it from a bunch of angles, keep marking any fish that we catch, and then over time, I'll start to have a track that I'll just drift until we don't catch them anymore. So it all depends. Usually I start shallow, and then I work deeper, and then we go back and look at the GPS and see where we've put marks. And then that tells us where we need to be making the majority of our drifts and the direction.
Yeah, mine is tide dependent. If the tide takes you from shallow to deep, then I start shallow. If it takes you from deep to shallow, then I start deep. I learned a long time ago striper fishing in the rips, and those of you that know our area will completely understand what I'm talking about. All the fish are caught right in front of the rip, right? 90% of the bass are caught right when you're about to hit the rip or just in the rip. But we would still always go a quarter mile past that and set up. And I would say to my friends, like, why don't we start closer? And whenever we did, we never caught a fish because by the time you got down, so I tend to do a longer drift. However, if you really have those fish dialed in and they're in a specific area, then you short drift. Then you don't necessarily have to go from the very beginning.
Yeah, sometimes we're making drifts that are 20 feet long. Definitely go back, Vinny, into some of the next drift videos from the previous years, and I've got a bunch of videos with diagrams and everything that talk all about that. So great question. Jeremy asks, do either of you usually enter the Bluefish tournament? I do not.
I've been in it a couple times, but not in years.
Yeah, same here. Good to see you on Fat Dad Fishing.
Yeah, thank you, Charlie. That was fun.
Yeah, that was a good show.
Out of the blue. He's such a good guy too. He really is.
Rich is a good guy. Let's see. Got a cooler full of squid from Rhode Island. Such a great sign. Squid come first, and then the fluke. Well, gas prices being lower this year.
I don't care what gas prices are personally, JS. I not going to stop me. When they were almost $6 a gallon, I did not.
You're still filling up.
A second less. By the way, I filled up a few days ago. I'd run a lot of no charters. I had charters and I canceled all of them because the fishing sucked and I didn't want to take people out just for a boat ride. But me personally, I was trying, and I went through quite a bit of gas. At my marina next door to me where I get my fuel, it was $4.56 a gallon.
I'm curious to see what Connecticut's prices are going to be on the water. Although I've got this the mobile guy now that fills you up from land. He drives around, and you pay
Yeah,
much less. So I'm
they have
excited.
that service here too, but
It's nice.
you can't do it like in my marina.
Oh, really?
You could do it if you were in a private marina or your boat was on your lawn. There's a company out here, if anybody's interested, in Eastern Long Island. Rising Tides is the name of the company. It's usually $1 a gallon cheaper than anything on the water. But obviously, if you're like in a Strong's, a Safe Harbor, in Albertsons, a Port of Egypt, they're not going to go
Okay.
there.
No.
But if you're in a private dock or your boat's on a trailer, they'll absolutely come to you.
Yeah. How many gallons does your boat hold?
304.
Okay, so mine's 300, so we're about the same. Yeah. It's expensive. Will you ever tip the bucktails with gulp and spearing? Saw a video of a guy from 2 years ago in Western Nassau, South Shore.
Yeah,
Sure,
I mean, those
you could
bait
definitely do it.
works, right? We all use bait forever. And to be honest, I was talking about this relatively recently with someone. The price of gulp has gotten so cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs that, I remember when gulp was such a great alternative that you didn't have to buy the bait, and you would actually save money using the gulp in the old days. And that's not the case anymore. So bait definitely works, but I think it has been proven that the gulp is more effective. And I definitely think there's more interference fish now, especially sea bass, than there was years ago. And I think as long as you have that intestinal fortitude to not set on those rapid taps, you can preserve your gulp, right? It won't get chopped. They'll stretch it and tear it.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a clean break, that's a sea robin or a sea bass or a porgy that's typically holding the tail, you're swinging and setting. If you see jagged marks, that's usually a fluke because they have the teeth, unless, bluefish can hit it too, I guess. But
yeah,
if you're diligent with your gulp, you won't lose as much of it, but it certainly works. The bait certainly works.
it's a good question. Got another one from California.
Yeah, hey guys, I do a lot of beach fishing here in California using bucktails, SP minnows, Payo metals, and a few different topwater. Do you have any suggestions on other lures from the East Coast? I can scroll down a little. That's it. I can use. Sorry, I thought it was cut off.
There's some good topwater walking baits that we use out here for stripers. Like the big giant Zero Spook type baits. Those are really good. They're a lot of fun to fish.
Yeah, I know Skinner has gotten into those spook lures big time.
Yep.
I don't really do
Saltwater
a lot of
bugs.
water stuff or a lot of surf fishing, so I don't know if I'm qualified to offer an opinion on this. I'll defer to you. You're the freshwater tackle guy, and I think I have a lot more experience casting for fish than I do.
Yeah, I mean, if the fish are feeding, especially in a schooling situation, you could throw a hot dog out there and they'll eat it. So, it's really depends on what the situation is. But
yes, and Pete's seen video of bluefin tuna airing on bunker pods inside Raritan Bay. Looked like 200, 300 pounds. I saw that too.
Yep.
But was that from this year or was that last year? I assumed it was last year.
I think it's from last year. I think it's just somebody who's trying to get everybody all fired up and everything. But this could be a really good tuna year.
I think I would have heard about it from Joey and some of the other guys that I know there if that was happening right now.
Totally possible, but
it is possible. But I definitely know they were talking about it when I was fishing Raritan this year. That happened last year. So could it have happened in April or May of this year? Yes, but I have a feeling that's probably video from last year.
Yeah.
JT, will you fish Niantic as much as you used to now that you moved your boats? That's Dave, by the way, or David, as he prefers to be called.
Dave, I will definitely be over there, over at Millstone and around that whole area early on. So, yeah, a lot of good fish over there. I lost a giant in Two Tree Channel last year, a real big one. So I will definitely be over there. That's probably my favorite early season fluke spot. Nope, let me go back to this one, sir.
Yeah, JS again. Have you used hookup tube baits for jigging for stripers? I have not. I've never even heard of them.
That's interesting. I've never heard of them. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah.
Shoot us a link. Throw a link in the comments. I love looking at that stuff.
I'm gonna just stick it in Google right now before I forget, because it sounds like hook up. What's it called, JT? Because I can't see the chat now. Let me just go back to
My
it.
14-year-old brain just was laughing at something else.
Hook up two baits.
Hook up two baits.
Two baits.
Uh,
Oh, you know what? Holy crap. Okay, I have one of these on my boat.
what is it?
Bought it. It looks like a
Can you share your screen on here?
Well,
here, want me to do it? Here, let me
yeah, here. I'll just put the link in, JT, and you can
okay.
you can it looks like a I bought one of these from Dick's because it looked so.
Oh, it's like an eel.
Yeah.
Okay, I found it.
Okay.
Hook up
Oh,
baits.
too long to post.
Here, let me share this. We're not getting paid by them, but whatever. We're cool about it. Huh. New baits. Well, let's look at some of the regular baits. Large baits. Huh.
It really looked interesting, and it looked like it would work.
Cool. I like some of this stuff.
Oh, that's a grouper, I think, right?
Look at that.
Yeah, and I got it in like that classic, like olive brown eel color.
These are going to work for tuna, you know. Do they make a bigger size? These might be an awesome lure for jigging tuna, like kind of like a Ron Z type thing. That's pretty cool. I'm going to check these out. Large baits. Cool. Yeah, I like that color. Chovy. All right. Learn something new every day. All right. Back to business. Where are we here? Let's see. Hold on. Let me go back up. Okay.
Hey guys, are you typically fishing shallow this early in the season? Here in Mass, I usually do well in small rivers, 4 to 15. So it doesn't really apply to me because I don't really have access to shallow areas where I am. Peconic Bay is a very deep bay. JT, that'd be a good question for you with some of the rivers there, like the Connecticut River and whatnot.
Is he referring to is he referring to fluke?
Yes.
Or, okay.
Yes, because I know, right, and maybe Philly man Pete can confirm this too. Like those guys in South Jersey, that Philly area, if you ever watch like the old C Money videos, he's fishing those like really shallow bank areas. I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah.
The closest we have here is Mattatuck Inlet, and that's way far from my boat because I'm on the south side. This is on the north side. And I know guys typically do well. They allegedly, again, I've never really targeted them in places like this, but the fluke early in the season are gorging on grass shrimp in those grassy areas in really shallow water. And I know like Stan and
they're all fishing in 6 feet of water.
Guys are fishing skinny water and killing big fluke in that skinny water.
Remember that spot we were fishing over near Squamicut last year?
Yeah.
I sent you to?
I wasn't that shallow though.
No, but then I found another school of fish the week after. Do you remember that? They were in like 8 and 10 feet.
Oh, they were very shallow. Yes,
oh my God, they were so shallow. I could see like, big boulders on the bottom and stuff, but they were super, super shallow. So, and that was early on in the season, right when the squid got here. So, yeah, definitely. You just have to be really careful. You don't want anybody getting hurt. But, yep, great question.
Yeah, and James is just pointing out he's glad he trailers his boat so he can go to his local gas station, gulp grubs. So if I'm using 6-inch, it's typically grubs. I'll tell you what I don't like about the mullets. I dropped a couple big fish once on a trip with Skinner. I mean, big fish, like drag fish. And like hours, I'm still complaining about it. And Skinner says, I know why you dropped those fish. I go, why? He goes, stop using those mullets. They cover too much of the hook.
Because you're what was it, like this 5 and 6 inch mullets?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
what
the
I've
big fat
started
ones.
doing, if I ever do use a mullet, is I thread it near the top of the head, like up top. Like I don't put it through the middle of the body, if that makes sense. I put the hook closer through the top part because the body is so thick that if you hook it through the middle, I understand where Skinner's coming from. That bait has to be like annihilated in order for that hook to really set
We have
well.
no hook gap left.
Yeah, you have
So
no hook gap. That's the you're articulating it much better than I was. Thank
yeah.
you.
So I love the mullets. And if you go back to the last video I just posted last week, um, in there you'll find where I talk about the mullet. But I like the 3 and 4 inch mullet. Sometimes I'll use a 5, but mostly the 4 inch mullet if we're using a mullet, and it's one of my favorites. So got a lot of big fish on that thing. Got a lot of fish on that mullet. So I love the mullets. But obviously we have, I don't even know, I probably have 4,000 or 5,000 6 inch gulp grubs in the boat. So yep, good question.
Yeah,
Uh,
Philly Man Pete saying definitely last year, but the video I saw was purported
mhm.
from a week ago. Who knows if it's true?
Yeah.
I would say it's not true, but who knows? To your point,
Hell, I don't do much surf fishing. Do you know anything about? I'd like to get into it. I'm trying to get the guys into it, but
I don't. I'll plug Skinner's surf rod though, the dark matter rod. I actually own it. I only used it once. I don't surf fish a lot. Um, I mean, I probably the wrong guys to ask, unfortunately.
yeah. Here, I got to put this guy up. Fluke time this summer. We're gonna get our biggest. Yeah, that's my buddy Tim. That's Tim Gardner. Any of
Oh,
you guys watch Next Drift?
yeah.
Tim catches monsters. Tim is he's like a silent assassin. He's probably one of the best fishermen that I fish with. So, what's up, Timmy? I can't wait, buddy. We're gonna have such a good year. Yep. Tim had another baby
Oh,
uh,
very nice. Mazel
last
tov.
year, so he was playing dad, so he didn't get to come out too much. But so yeah, he's got a nice family.
JS, use the ice color or white hookup bait. Well, too late, JS. I
Yeah.
already bought the
I'll get him.
it's on my boat. I got to see if it's the hookup brand, but it's exactly like those
That's pretty
pictures.
cool. I mean, we'll take him out for tuna. I'm going to try it. I'll get a couple.
So Greg is saying I went to the New Jersey Saltwater Show and there was a new company to me, Q8 Superbait. I got a few bags I'm going to try out. Greg, I presume that's a gulp alternative.
Hmm.
I'm
We're
not
going
sure
to
why
look this
we're
up now
waiting for
too.
Greg to reply. It's a one-sided live
Greg, put
stream.
a link up, buddy.
Not interactive unless he types it in. Let us know how that goes. Best squid run in years, got over 250. Anthony, are you in Rhode Island?
I just love hearing that. That means we got Fluke coming.
Yeah, I know. I agree.
I love it. That is great. Good. Good. That's what we want to hear. Everybody, Joey wants me to take everybody squid fishing, but I told him we'll go, but everybody's cleaning up. I'm not cleaning everything. It is a freaking mess.
Well, when you only catch two like we did, it's not bad.
Regards, I got 2 veins.
We went out 2 weeks.
Okay.
JS, you don't own the company, do you? I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
You
Joking.
just send us some.
Yeah.
Let's see.
B-Stav, yes. B-Stav loves us, and he fishes shallow, and he does a great job. Absolutely. So B-Stav is a South Jersey guy. Bob is a character. Great guy, ex-policeman, character.
Nice.
In a good way, not a bad way.
Good. I know the Jersey Fluke bait.
Yeah, 6 to 12 feet of
Nice.
water and solid
Yeah,
fish.
there you go. 6 to 12 feet. That's the number. You kayak guys with the smaller boats, they can get in there. Just like I said, be careful of rocks, but that's where you should be fishing.
Yeah, and JS is saying he's also caught salmon on them out of season. I guess if you're not targeting them, no harm, no foul, at least in New York. And it's closed mostly this year. That's unfortunate.
I love this next question.
So, John, when are you going to offer the dock package instead of the Skinner package charter? So So my good buddy Doc, unfortunately, like this guy can't catch a break. He and his wife both caught COVID. They were both really, really sick. They're starting to feel better, thankfully. I saw him for a little bit today. And yeah, I listen. I've
People would
had
pay
people,
like $5,000 to go fishing with you and
no,
Doc.
no. I've had people literally say to me, invite Doc to come. He can fill one of the spots.
That's awesome.
But the problem with Doc is good luck coordinating. I think you've met him, right?
Oh yeah, many many times.
So, like, if he were like a wrestler, because JT and I are big like old school wrestling fans. If he were a wrestler in Vince McMahon's 1980s WWF, he would come from parts unknown, and his name would be the Indecision. Because he can't ever make up his mind. You want to fish tomorrow? I'll let you know. If I'm at the boat, I'm at the boat. If I'm not there at 6:00, go without me. Don't worry. It would be you know what, Skinner, can you go on? Yes. I don't even have to say the date. Yeah. Skinner, somebody wants, okay. Like, I literally asked him, hey, Mother's Day, somebody's at, yes. What about your wife? Don't worry. I can do it. He's never said no on a date. Doc would be a complete disaster for me to try to coordinate a date from. It'd be a lot
of prep. Yeah, he needs prep.
He needs to retire is what he needs. My members channel has a video where he retired. Like, he literally decided last year he was going to retire.
I remember that.
And then he changed his mind. Do you know why?
Why?
Because he's the indecision. He can't make a big decision. Sorry.
Poor Doc. He's one of the sweetest, kindest human beings I've ever met. He's such a good guy. Oh, good stuff.
That was in Mattatuck. Oh, okay. Railroad dock in Greenport. Yeah. Anthony, was that a couple of weeks ago? Because we went there like 5 days after everybody was cleaning up, and we didn't see much happening on the dock, and we were right off the dock with a big spotlight in the water, and we didn't do anything. It's possible they're back again. I don't know.
I'm sure that, well, they follow bait just like anything else.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's probably
what's crazy is that light was attracting like shiners and what looked like killies and all this grass shrimp, but not much in the end of April and Monday night in the rain, 3 a.m. always. Oh, that's okay.
Well, that makes a big difference.
That's my wake up time. I could probably make that happen.
You're an animal.
When you get to be my age, Anthony, you go to bed around now and you wake up around 3 a.m. We won't mention how many bathroom trips in between. My last one for the show for JT. You are on the quest to beat Nappy's world record this year. What do you think the heaviest fluke on your boat will be this year? Give us a number! Exclamation point!
Ooh, man.
Tell them our conversation, JT.
Well, in order to break the record, it has to be 23 pounds. Well, 22 pounds, 8 ounces or bigger.
Tell them about our conversation. You said to me, do you think I can do this? And what did I say?
You said it was unlikely.
I think I said no.
No.
I said that record's been around for 50 years, but I admire your enthusiasm, and I believe if anybody can do it, it'll be you. But think about how many people have tried for 50 years, and what a great story it'll be if you do it. But do I think you're going to do it? No.
And I'll be honest, and everybody knows this. I've told you this. Obviously I'm realistic, but I think it's more of the preparation, the hunt for that, where we're going to be fishing, how we're going to be fishing. It's not just going to be.
I think you're going to catch big fish, dude.
Oh, we're going to catch some big ones.
I just don't think you're going to catch a 22-pound, 8-ounce fish.
Who knows? I honestly think that we have a really good chance this year of getting an 18, 19 pounder. I think we're going to see something like that.
I hope you're right. We haven't. The biggest fish I've seen or heard of was that one caught in our area where we fish. Doc's buddy who got the 17. Yep. His daughter-in-law got it. Thought she was stuck on the bottom.
Yeah. Joey's was the biggest fluke I've ever seen personally, and then That fish was 35 and an eighth inches long. We ended up unfortunately killing that fish. It was on 4th of July, and we did not get it certified on a certified weight, which was really stupid.
Yeah.
So that was a big one.
Very gracious offer, JT. JT and John, open invitation. If you get to South Jersey, we'll go out kayak fishing. Bring your rods. I'll supply the kayak. Charlie, if you go back, if you in YouTube search Jigging Jerks, Fat Man, and Little Kayak, you'll find a video I made back in 2019, kayak fishing with Skinner, where he supplied the kayak. He was the Charlie. It did not end well for me. I don't know how you guys do it.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much for the offer. I might pick you up on it.
Get ready.
Drag Halkias.
Get ready for your butt to hurt for weeks.
I could use the exercise. I was going to say but I could. Let's see here.
Yeah, Philly man Pete, and I hope you really do beat Nackby's record. So do I, buddy. My guess is 18 pounds. I'd be thrilled if I'll go on record. If you get an 18 pounder, I'll be thrilled. That's a fish of 5 lifetimes.
Yeah.
How many great fishermen have never remotely come close to 18 pounds? Which is why I'm such a doubter about anybody, not just you, JT, and I want you to prove me wrong, but
I want to believe me, I would love it. Not out of a selfish reason, but
is 50 years old. And when's the last time we've even heard of an angler catching a 20? I don't even know.
Well, so here's my theory behind it. And I've thought a lot about this because I've had that question a few times. I think, number one, everybody, especially fluke fishing, right? There's a lot of good size fluke, a lot of big fluke that are close by. You don't need to go and travel and spend a lot of money where we're going to be going to go try and catch fluke. So right. I think those areas that we're going out to, the only people that are fluke fishing out there are the draggers, right? That's the first thing. The second thing I think is that most people, because gulp is so hot and it's easy to use and it's tremendously effective, is that people have gotten away from the big cut bait. Mm-hmm. And we're not talking about like a couple, spearing on a hook with a spinner on it. We're talking about using whole 18-inch long squid. And it kind of relates, at least where my mindset is on it. So my roots are from freshwater bass fishing. And when the whole swim bait craze came out, these are big, giant swim baits. The Castaic came out with these Castaic trout that were, 15, 16, 17 inches long. And guys would go out, especially out in California, Clear Lake, Lake Castaic, and take these giant swim baits and catch enormous bass, 16, 17, 18-pound bass. They wouldn't catch a lot, but they would get really big ones. And that's kind of where my thought is on it. It's almost the same thing. In a lot of my videos, I've always talked about, and even like taking people out, to me, I think the thing that gets me so excited about fluke fishing is it's so similar to freshwater bass fishing. I always say it's just like a freshwater, a smallmouth in freshwater, a fluke is.
Well, Roger has posted a ton of videos now on cooking and fishing where he's using like crankbaits and off the surf and catching fluke after fluke after fluke. So you're not far off.
I just think that done a little bit differently, getting away from the normal fluke fishing areas and using some techniques and presentations that are more geared towards enticing a much larger fluke to eat a piece of bait. That's why my confidence level is.
This is why I think if anyone can do it, it's you. However, I still think it's going to take a miracle because there might only be one of those fish in the whole ocean.
Could be.
Yeah.
It could be, and I have received some really credible, good intel from people that are excited about this, people that were captains of draggers for years. Talked about some spots out at the canyons where they used to actually pull up 20+ pound fluke. So, so we'll see that as the video series comes out and all that good stuff. But it'll be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I can't wait.
I'm excited about it.
Mike T, who's Lucci Gucci, has a good question.
Where are we here? Here we go.
Right there. Why don't you use a digital scale instead of the Boca? The Boga. So because on a moving boat, it's almost impossible to get an accurate reading on that digital scale. It's going to bounce. It'll never set. And I try to release all the big fish, and I encourage my clients to also. So I don't want to waste an hour trying to get an accurate reading. If we kill the fish, which is always client's discretion, or if we're in a tournament, let's say, then yeah, I do have a digital scale on the boat, and we'll measure it on the digital. But the Boca now you got me saying Boca. The Boga is just so much easier.
Yeah.
Oh, James Ryan. Oh, there you go. This is why I love James Ryan. He remembers the sunburn, because this idiot was in Southwest Florida for 10 hours with that maniac Skinner kayak fishing, and I wore short pants. And literally my thighs got like, and I'm Mediterranean, like my DNA shows I'm like Middle Eastern too. I have dark skin. This is my regular color. And I still got burned beyond belief in the thighs.
Oh boy. Yeah, that's not good. Let's see. Charlie.
He has bug boy. I mean, I'm sure that means big boy kayaks with electric motors.
Nice. That's what
Charlie,
I'm not a paddler.
Looking at it. More importantly,
I need a throttle.
Do you have one with like a chase recliner as a chair? I'm more about the comfort.
And a little cooler for the Stellas and Modelos.
Yeah, well, Tilapia from Miller.
There you go. Or Miller's are good too. Good stuff. What does that say, John? I can't see.
Well, what are anticipating for bycatch with those bigger? Oh, so I think that's for you, JT. What are you anticipating as bycatch as you're targeting those bigger fluke with those bigger baits?
I think cod is definitely a possibility. Potentially, maybe a smaller size halibut.
Oh, that's interesting.
You know, and that's actually like something I was thinking about today. As a matter of fact, I'm like, can you imagine like hooking up? And you get this thing up, and it looks like a giant fluke, and it ends up being a freaking halibut, like a 20-something pound halibut.
Well, the halibut are more angled, right?
Yes.
They have
the tail. Yes, I actually printed out 2 pictures. I have one of a fluke and one of a halibut. I'm going to put on the boat just so we have it, so we don't get too excited. but yeah, halibut, cod.
So I got an email that cod for New York State is going to be closed after May 31 in federal waters.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So just be careful. Check the cod regulations.
Yeah. We end up the last couple of years. Not last year, but the year before. The year before that, we actually had some really good cod trips on the way back in from tuna fishing.
Yeah, Charlie. The New York kayaks have more of a beach chair seats. Yeah, that hard plastic seat. And again, I think I would have been fine if it was like a 5-hour trip. But here is like one of my favorite Skinner stories. The man, his birthday's next week. He's in his, he's older than me. He's an animal. He just doesn't want to stop. And, last year we had a trip where we were in the pouring rain, wind on his boat. My boat hadn't been delivered yet. We're in Plum Gut with a stiff east wind that we have to ride 10 miles home in. And we caught 63 bass that day because I counted them on the video. Those are only the ones I caught on film. 63. And about after the 40th bass, I said to him, hey, we're getting soaked. The wind is picking up. We caught so many bass. Isn't it, should we not be thinking about going home? And he was like, are you crazy? When are we ever going to have a bite like this again? The guy's just an animal. And when we were kayak fishing, I think his body is used to sitting on that dang thing for hours at a time. My boat was not prepared for that. And not to mention my thighs getting burned. But the butt thing really was the thing that shocked me, how much sitting on hard plastic for that long, how much it hurts. Like it literally hurt so much that I was like, who the hell would ever do this, for more than 2 hours?
Yeah. Charlie, I would definitely consider coming out with you if you're going to be in Niantic. So, yep, that would be cool. I would definitely do that. It'd be a good video. Change it up a little bit. Good stuff. You got any more questions here? We just hit 9:00. We'll give it a couple more minutes. If you have any questions you'd like us to answer, shoot them into the the chat. But this was really a good show. We had a big audience, John.
We
We at
do.
one point had 153 people viewing.
Wow.
It was our biggest show ever.
Could be.
Yeah. So that's really good. So what do you want to do here? Are we going to do this every other week? Is that
Yeah.
what you'd like to do on Thursday
Yeah.
nights, 8:00?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. We can obviously once we're both out on the water and got some consistent fishing trips behind us, we'll definitely be offering you some insight as to what's going on, and definitely check out the Jigging Jerks YouTube member channel and the Next Drift Patreon channel. A lot of good stuff on there. So appreciate everybody watching. I think that's about it, buddy.
Yeah. Good
Tired
times.
everyone out.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks. Great questions, too, man.
Great questions. Awesome. Hey, a lot of fun, Halk, as always.
Yeah. Take care, all.
Take care, everybody.